Hey y'all, and welcome to Confessions of an Autism Mom. I am Amanda. Y'all, I know it's been a while, but I am getting back on my YouTube. I have a lot of videos to bring to you all, so thank y'all for sticking it out and not leaving. If you are new here, welcome. And here on Confessions of an Autism Mom, we talk all things autism, whether it's about us as moms, our kids, different experiences, resources, all types of things. Everything is dedicated around living the life as an autism mom and my true confessions. So if you like the idea of that, make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on your notification button. That way you'll be able to receive the notifications when I post a video. Alright y'all, so it has been a while, but I'm about to go live on TikTok, so I figured while I do my makeup and get prepared, I can do a little chit chat with you all. I want to start off with life lately. How have y'all been? Comment below and tell me how everything has been going. For me, it's been going okay. I've been trying to figure out how to balance being a mom, going to school, going to work, and just making sure I'm paying Aiden attention and making sure he's getting everything that he needs from me. So it has been a lot, and that's why I kind of took a step back. But now that I have figured out my new routine and how to make everything work, I'm back. So life lately, too much has not happened. Like I say, I'm back in school. I think I'm in school at a right time, to be completely honest, because now that I'm looking at my work, I don't think I would have been able to do or attempt to get in a nursing program back then, because my mind was all over the place. I was always doing stuff. Honestly, I was into fast money, like working at the bar and things like that, like give me my money. And I didn't realize like how important it was, but I see it now. We see the change in the economy and everything that's happening. And I also just want the best for Aiden. So I want to be able to save money for him and make sure he has everything in order just in case anything happens to me. I pray to be able to live with my baby for as long as I can to make sure he is good. But that's really what life has been like lately. Aiden did turn 5. Y'all, Aiden turned 5, right? And it seems like Aiden is back in terrible twos. Like, yeah, I don't know what's going on right now, but I really feel like my baby is in terrible twos. Like, he's getting into everything. He's climbing. Matter of fact, this week I lost him because I guess they have been playing like hide and seek somewhere. And he decided to run off and disappear. And it was just a mess. I did a video on it on my TikTok because I just wanted to do a quick video here. But y'all, Aiden was playing hide and go seek, got lost. I'm crying. The maintenance man see me and Aiden in the cut on the lower level hiding. So imagine how I felt. Like, it was a very surreal moment. And I can't imagine how parents feel when their kids go missing, because I was very uncomfortable that whole time. My heart just caved in and I still was a little shook throughout the day. It took me a minute to regroup and get myself together. But Aiden is climbing, jumping off of everything. He's just this active little boy and I love it because I wouldn't want it any other way. I don't want him to hurt himself, but I like the fact that he is super active right now. So life lately, as I said, Aiden is just all over the place. Love it. As for me, I felt like I was starting to be all over the place. And I find myself now, like, just being like, no, I can't handle this, and letting go things. Not that doesn't necessarily serve a purpose, because anything that I do absolutely serves a purpose in my life. But I'm just learning my boundaries, and if I see no progress in something that has been going on, I'm gonna let it go. So I did decide to step down on Spectrum Sisters. Nothing bad happened. It's just with school, and I'm trying to make sure I either get an A or B in all my classes, because those are considered points. I also have to study for my TEAS test. And then ain't nobody tell me once I get in the nursing program, I'm literally going to class every day. And if I'm not in class, then I have clinicals. And I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do that because these bills still got to get paid, you know? But I realize at this moment, like, I'm not ready to step into that role or to always get people together or just plan stuff or keep the group going, even though there are ladies in the group that absolutely, like, it's 3 or 4 moms, they just keep the group going randomly. I don't want to close the chat, but I don't want to serve as one of the founders because it comes with a lot of responsibilities. And Aiden is going to start school next year, so that's a lot on my plate. But as autism moms, I feel like we have to learn our boundaries, learn when to say no, and learn when to let go. That's one of the most important things that we have to learn to do in life, because you can really stress yourself out or bring on unwanted stress. Like, our PTSD level is already like high through the roof because we're always worried about our kids. So I always say make decisions for now and for the future, and do what's best for you. Don't let people dictate it or make you feel bad for decisions that you make as a mom, whether it comes to your child or if it comes to you. Because I don't feel bad, but I don't want to, you know, just leave moms hanging that had a group to talk in and just to feel included. But there's so many other groups. I'm going to join some. It's just not for me right now. And it wasn't my vision alone. It was visions of others. So, yeah, that chapter is closed for now. Just for now. But I am going to keep working on Confessions of an Autism Mom. And everybody knows my DMs, my emails are open. And I do have a lot of emails, y'all. Let me tell y'all what I forgot. I told moms if they wanted to write me anonymously so I could tell their story because they didn't want to tell it, that they can write me. And y'all, I went in my junk email. I have so many stories to tell, and I had to email those moms back and explain to them, like, hey, I wasn't ignoring you, but it went to my spam messages, but I got you. So I'm going to add that little segment, and I want people just to give moms a little encouragement in the comments once I read their stories so that they can see. But y'all, I completely forgot about it. See how you can't have too much going on because you'll literally forget certain things. So I did hang out with some moms that I met on TikTok. And when I say I had an amazing time, I had an amazing time. I was supposed to get with them. Well, no, they were supposed to come to one of our events. And they couldn't make it, which is completely understandable. And then we finally linked up. And I think for me and for my anxiety and for my stress level and for everything that I have going on, what they have as far as building a sisterhood and a friendship, I'm looking for my type of vibe, basically. I am in a place where it's like, oh, come on, let's hang out, let's go to dinner, let's go do this or do that, because that's not off from what I've already been doing. So to do that with some super cool moms that are understanding, no judgment, it just was a vibe. They were so sweet and I really enjoyed myself. I actually have a whole vlog on that, and I'm gonna post that. Y'all gonna get a lot of like vlogs that I didn't post, so it's going to be some stuff from the summertime that I post. But I'm going to go ahead and post it to get it out of my phone, because not only is Confessions for me to share my story and how I feel as a mom, it's also like a place where I store all of my memories. And I love that. That way my son, he'll be able to go back and look at everything I talked about and see how much I just really enjoy raising him and being on this journey with him. Alright, so y'all, I started talking about Edmond on Love is Blind, and if I see someone that can possibly be on the spectrum or show symptoms or signs that they could possibly be on the spectrum, I am I'm going to talk about it because that's what I do. I advocate as an autism mom first, and he is a male and my son is a male. And the things that people have been saying about Edmond on Love is Blind is really like heartbreaking, because if you watch Love is Blind, you can see that something is clearly not together, or something is wrong mentally with his health. And when I say mentally, I do not mean in a bad way. A lot of people online has really been going in on him, calling him a narcissist, saying that he's a sociopath, he's psychotic, just all kind of things that I don't think is fair, because I am raising a son that's on the spectrum, and luckily I am blessed to be able to provide him and help him and understand so that he can develop for the future. I don't think Edmond had that opportunity. So we're gonna chit chat about that, because I don't want to do a review on the show. I just want to talk about Edmond a little bit. And some of Edmond, they say you faking and they told you to hype up to your behaviors. I pray to God that is not true, because a lot of us are defending you for possibly being on the autism spectrum, and we are fighting for you because we have kids on the spectrum, and we don't want anybody to say the things that they're saying about you about our kids. So if he is playing this role, then y'all can scratch anything and everything that I'm about to bring up and say, you know, in this video. From the beginning of the show, you know, you can see that something is quite not right with Edmond. And originally it was given ADHD, because he couldn't be still. He was literally all over the place, and just his movements, you could tell, like, if you know, you know. I can't really help people see what I saw, or what other parents or even someone that is on the spectrum can see. I can't help y'all see that, but I saw it. He just could not be still. Everything was like, if KB would say something, it was just some kind of motion. Like, he was just for a grown man. Another thing I want to say really quick, I don't think a black man will get on a worldwide TV show and embarrass himself like that. There's not enough fame in the world for a black man to do that. And the reason why I say that is because black people in general, we get held to a higher standard when it's time for us to go on reality shows. We have to act a certain way so we won't get judged, and people are using us for their entertainment. So let me just say that first and foremost. We just can't go on there like just wilding, because we're held to a certain standard. So back to Edmond. I don't know if y'all caught that run down the hall, but Edmond was zooming down the hallway, running left and right. Even after the proposal, he went to get something for KB. The way he took off down that hallway reminded me of my son when he's overstimulated with excitement and he just can't be still and he's running down the hallway. And I know a lot of y'all gonna say my son is 5, but my son is gonna grow up to be an autistic adult, okay? We gotta keep that in mind. So some of the things that they do now, they're still gonna do in their future, you know? And I could just tell Edmond may not have been able to get the help that he needed due to his situations of being in and out of foster care, in and out of different foster homes, which was another click to me. It made me feel like, okay, they didn't have the patience to deal with him, so they just got rid of him, you might as well say it, and sent him to another foster family. Like, that's how I looked at it. I just have another perspective because I am raising a child that's on the autism spectrum. Also, let's remember, there are levels to autism. It's a spectrum. Everybody is not the same. Edmond is highly high functional. And I got a comment that told me, well, he was bold enough and smart enough to go on a dating show and want to find love and be married. He got enough sense to not act like that. Yeah, let's talk about that statement and then we're going to finish talking about Edmond. understand why people don't understand that kids on the spectrum are extremely smart. There are other things that contribute to why they are on the spectrum. It has nothing to do with them not having sense or not being smart. They just learn and they think differently. So when she said that, I politely asked her, I said, so they not smart enough to know that they may want a husband or a wife? Because I'm confused. Also, what makes you think someone on the spectrum doesn't deserve love? You know? It just opened up so many questions for me. And it also made me realize that people still do not understand autism, and they still are not trying to understand it. Because if you watch this show, you can see that something is definitely off with Edmond, and you can tell that he needs help. He needs ABA therapy now. He needs intensive outpatient therapy now. He needs to go after this show. Now, like I said, if he faking, I take all of this back. But I don't think so. And I hate that people, they even told me I was a pygmy. Y'all, I ain't never been no pygmy in my life. I do not side with men because I know how trash and dirty and how much they lie and they're manipulators and all of that stuff. I would never take up for a man. So for her to tell me that, call me a pygmy, and I'm always taking up for men, you don't even know me. I'm just raising an autistic son who's black, and I don't want nobody talking about him how they are talking about it. All right, so a couple things stuck out to me, which I'm going to go through them really quickly because I am running a little bit behind, because I want y'all to just go watch a couple of his scenes. I'm pretty sure you've seen it on social media, but a couple of things that I want to talk about was the floor incident when he was kissing the floor. Again, I see a lot of my son in the things he do in Edmond, which is shockingly because nobody on the spectrum is the same. So Edmond was laying on the floor and kissing the floor. Y'all ain't never thought that probably was his comfort zone? He was comfortable laying on the floor. Now the kissing part, that threw me off because I know my baby ain't about to kiss no floor. But he will put his face on the floor. He will lay on the floor, things like that. So I don't understand how people or even production thought it was okay to pretty much still have him on the show with that type of behavior. Another thing that was a really hot topic that people talked about, they said that Edmond was crying about that kitty because she said no. Y'all gotta go watch it to know what I'm talking about. I don't think he was crying about that, because if you listen to the conversation and if you know anybody on the spectrum, when you tell them something, they focus on one thing in what you tell them. They're not focusing on the whole conversation. They are hyper focused on one thing that you tell them. Edmond was hyper focused when KB stated, oh yeah, I used to have one night stands, but I'm not like that no more. So the only thing that clicked in his head was, oh, so you'll do it with them and not me, and I'm giving my all and loving on you, da 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 da. That's why that conversation, and then y'all took it. The conversation did not click. And the world took it as, oh, he crying because she has values and morals, and he trying to force her into it. He wasn't. He was only hyper focused on what she said about the one night stands. And if you know a kid on the spectrum or an adult, they hyper focus on certain things. My son, I can say a whole sentence to my baby. He's going to hyper focus on one or two things in that sentence, and I have to tell him again. I have to explain to him over and over again. And that's what we talk about when we talk about having patience for someone that is on the autism spectrum, because they may not get it the first time you tell them, but the third or fourth time you explain it, they'll catch on. They learn differently. But everybody turned that to a big moment, and I did not like that, because I did not feel that he was crying about not being able to have sex with KB. Another thing that happened was when they were on the island. I don't know who was sitting next to them, but the girl was talking about her relationship, and she was talking to KB and Edmond, right? And Edmond was talking to the other young lady, and KB was like, watch what you say and watch how you say it. That man, 28 years old, if he was atypical, he would know how to say certain things and know how not to say certain things. If you deal with somebody on the spectrum or know someone or have a child, you know that they are blunt, straightforward, to the point, whether they're verbal or nonverbal. They're just very blunt, open, honest, with no filter. They have no filter. Edmond had no filter on the entire time. And that made me feel like, oh, Edmond has been saying other things, because the way KB said it, she was like, watch how you say that. Don't say that like that. Be careful what you say. That is like talking to somebody, like, that's like me telling Aiden, like, hey, I know you blunt and honest and you like to tell the truth, but be a little chill with how you say stuff. That's, you know, even though my baby gonna ignore me and still have his filter when he be unfiltered when he get his voice, it's the same as Edmond. You can tell him that, but he not finna filter it. So I think people miss certain things and wanted to judge him. They were the only black couple on the show, and it's the black community that's really judging him, if you want to be honest. All right, so then they get to see where they were gonna stay. Oh, where were they? Oh, Colorado. They were in Colorado. So then they get to Colorado and they get to see where they are going to stay in their home. Edmond went and got in that closet, and Edmond had a cover over him. And he was like, oh my God, this is a big enough closet or cupboard, whatever you call it, for me to sit inside of. Y'all, that's regulation. That is what you would call being comfortable and getting regulated. How do I know? Because my son, at one point, before I knew he had autism, would go and close himself in the coat closet, which was a smaller closet in the front of our apartment. Aiden would go sit in there, and my mom would be like, Aiden, get out the coat closet. Get out the coat closet. But I was like, nah, he just not doing it on purpose, because he would do it all the time. And then it got to a point where I would bring empty boxes from work home so Aiden could sit in the box and feel regulated. Y'all, Edmond was regulating on national TV. That is it. And I think KB knew, because people are saying, oh, I don't like how you're trying to diagnose him. I'm not diagnosing him. I'm just saying he may need to go get diagnosed so he can see what's wrong with him, if he already know he on the spectrum, you know? The way KB said, if it makes you happy, it makes me happy, made me feel like, okay, KB know that he could possibly be on the spectrum, because she's a social worker. She has to know these things. She has to be able to identify these things, and I feel like KB saw it. So it wasn't too much with him and his mom. What I did realize is his mom is from Ghana, and there are cultural differences when it comes to different countries in the USA. I think over here in the USA, we are a little bit more open to our kids being different, being unique. But some countries are just now getting to the point where they are okay with certain things. So I think Edmond either not being diagnosed or not getting the services he needed has to do with cultural differences. And y'all, we have to understand that, because I know I met a lady and she told me I can tell y'all, because I'm not giving out her information, but they're from Africa. She wants to go back to Africa, but she don't want to take her son over there because she knows her son is going to get mistreated. She knows that her family isn't going to accept him. So she's just staying over here. So that should tell y'all more than enough. And I'll be honest, I wouldn't be able to identify or know this unless my baby was on the spectrum. So that's why I'm here to tell y'all right now. So when Vanessa asked KB's friends how did they feel about Edmond and did they like him? They said, yes, we like him. He's just different and unique. Y'all, those are the words that we use in the autism for our kids. Like, we literally say they're different, they're not less, they're unique. They just think differently. The fact that they use those two words really made me feel like KB had conversations with them behind the scenes, basically mentioning to them that he could possibly be on the spectrum. Y'all can't make me change my mind from that, because to use those two particular words, if it's a coincidence, it's a coincidence, but I don't think it was. I think it had been talked about, and we know they use those words or whatever. Also, in that scene, they move over to the men trying on their tux. The two friends that Edmond had with them, they used the word, oh, he's always excited and he's a lot and he's this. When you don't know somebody is on the spectrum, you use certain words. And I could tell that everybody's like, oh, he's faking. No, Edmond act like that. That is Edmond's personality, because the two people that were there said that he is always excited and he's always jumping around. So that taught me everything that I needed to know, that Edmond may have not been faking. Social cues that Edmond did that really made me be like, yeah. So when they were on the bikes riding, the fact that KB was in the front driving him, that kind of threw me off, because I want my man to be driving me while we on a snowmobile. But I don't know, when they got off of the snowmobile and KB was like, I'm going to get us coffee. He didn't pick up the social cues to be like, oh no, I got that. Or he did not even pick up the social cues of, at that moment, like, I need to go get coffee because it's a coffee shop right there. Our kids miss a lot of social cues, and it takes a very patient person to understand that. And if you don't have anyone at a young age teaching you that, they're not gonna learn. Like now, I make my baby open the door. Open the door. You're supposed to open the door for women. He does it. He may not have the strength through his gross motor skills, but I'll help him. But I am instilling in him, yes, you open the door for women. You let women go first. He's a child, but I do explain to him, like, you would normally let mommy go first, but you go first. I tell him things like this. I also, even when we're eating, I'm like, Aiden, do this or do this that way, because you are a man. If it wasn't instilled in him at a young age, he's not going to get it the same way. He may not have gotten the services that he needed. He ain't gonna get it. And I feel like y'all think because people be on the spectrum and they can talk that they're fine, but sometimes they need ABA therapy, occupational therapy too. Like, it's a spectrum. Everything is different, but sometimes they do need to go fulfill their sensory needs and learn how to and get the help of others. Because I can say this, if Aiden would not have ever stopped talking, I would have never gotten him diagnosed for autism. I wouldn't even thought about the test. The most I would have thought was that my baby had ADHD, because he was always hyper. He was always into something. And then I eventually was like, he's just being a boy. But when I say I would not have gotten my son tested if he had not have stopped speaking, because that was my number one key sign. I didn't know anything about autism. I just knew my child stopped speaking and I needed to take him to the doctor. So I'm telling you, we all view things differently. And I probably would not have given him no services, because I'm like, he does everything. He's talking. Like, what else does he need? And I guarantee you, whoever was around Edmond, they looked at his behavior as bad versus let's see what's causing these behaviors. I want to get to the wedding, because these are things, like I say, that stuck out to me. I'm not doing a review over it. This is just my point of view. And I'm not diagnosing Edmond. These are just the things that I see that are similar to autism. The signs of autism, basically. So I want to talk about the conversation that his teacher Jessie had with him, which I was so happy that she came on the show and she said exactly what I thought she was going to say. Jessie said that you made me a better teacher. You helped develop me into the teacher that I needed to be. She said, I remember when you were just talking and you were dancing and all over the place in the back of the classroom, and that taught me to be the teacher that I am today. Edmond kind of falls into that generation of where autism wasn't spoken about a lot, where it was kind of taboo. We can call it what it is. Edmond was a part of that generation. So I can see Edmond not getting tested. I can also see Edmond not getting the services. I can see him being judged as being weird and just everything else because he was out of place. He didn't know how to handle himself. He didn't know how to move in the world being unique. And now he is mentally scarred because he's so used to being called weird that it's traumatizing to him. It really broke my heart when Edmond said, this was my last try. I tried everything. That hurts because I don't ever want my son to feel like if he never finds love, that he has no hope in finding love. Because, you know, we can fall in love at any age. And that was his thing. He wanted to be in love. He wanted to have a family. And I just really think that it was a lot, y'all. But I'm glad that teacher came on because she expressed exactly what I thought she would when they said teacher and talked about his personality. And that lines up with our kids being on the spectrum. Our kids are not dumb. They just learn differently. They do things differently. And that's just what it is. So, in my opinion, I have to give KB a little slack. She did pick him. Although she did pick him, I felt like they should have told her that, hey, these are the things we're concerned about if you pick him. But they didn't tell her that because they needed to entertain themselves off of somebody who could possibly be on the spectrum like it's a joke. Because it's not a joke. This is our lives. This is parents raise their kids and this is how they are. And to put it on a show where it's being exploited, because Edmond was exploited. Edmond does need love. He doesn't need to be taken out the bracket. But at some point, they should have been like, hey, let's work with him a little bit because this is what's going on with him. They get tested by psychologists and psychiatrists before they do the show. You ain't telling me not one of those people, those professionals, did not see that in Edmond. You're not telling me that. Chris Colleen told them to let him on the show. And Chris Colleen should be to blame that KB did not get a fair chance because Edmond was not for this experiment. You might as well say this is a social experiment. Edmond literally should be on Love on the Spectrum with people that understands him and accept him and won't judge him for who he truly is. Yes, they did KB super dirty, but KB also picked him because the way he talked in the pods, I literally would not have picked Edmond. And I'm not saying that because of autism. I'm saying it more so because you can tell he has a lot of trauma that he needs to unpack on top of possibly being on the spectrum. You know, I'm not diagnosing him. I'm just saying, like, KB didn't get her chance, and Edmond does show the sign as a person being on the autism spectrum. It wasn't meant for him. This wasn't his show. I hope KB gets another chance at love. She's like 27. Like, girl, you got time. You're going to find you a good man. But Edmond needs to be with someone who completely understands him as a person after he get therapy. Because I think people forget that even though people are on the spectrum, they're human as well. Autism is just a part of them. And I have to remind myself all the time, like, even though my baby's on the spectrum, he's still a boy. He still has this big personality that needs to show. He can be himself, and I allow him to. And I just think it was wrong. I didn't like this season at all. I probably won't watch any more seasons because I really did not like how they exploited Edmond. He didn't deserve that. KB did not deserve that. It was something else I wanted to bring up. Y'all go watch the show. Y'all will see exactly what I'm talking about. If you like this video, please like, share with other moms. Comment below your opinions of everything that you think or thought about if you have seen this show. Also tell me how life has been lately, because it has been a while. And I'm gonna start back posting. I think I'm gonna do every Tuesday and Thursday because my Monday and Wednesdays are really light, so I can get everything together and post it. But I will see y'all next time. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. Bye.